All right, let's go ahead and get started. We are going to continue our conversation about proportional relationships today. We're going to just take it one step farther and talk about how do we graph proportional relationships when my slope isn't a whole number, but it's a fraction. So let's go ahead and draw in our notes a few examples. So here's my first example, y equals 2/3 x. All right, what am I going to do? Now remember, this is in the format y equals mx, so my starting point is going to be the origin. So before I do anything at all, I'm going to put my dot at 0, 0. And then the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to identify my slope, just like we have been on our integer examples. And now, is this already a fraction? Well, yeah, it is. So I don't need to translate this into a fraction. I just need to translate what directions I'm going. Remember, slope is the rise over the run. So rise means I'm either going up or I'm going down, and run means I'm either moving right or I'm moving left. And remember, rise is a positive direction. So up is positive, down is negative, right is positive, and left is negative. So if I have the slope 2, which is positive, I'm going to go up 2. And 3 is positive for my run, so I'm going to move to the right 3. So let's go ahead back to our graph and plot our second point. So my slope of 2/3, if I look over here at my instructions, remember that it's telling me to move up 2 and to the right 1, 2, 3. I'm going to plot my point, and I'm going to just do that again to extend my line. So counting up 1, 2, and over 3 from where I left off extends my line just a little further. I'm going to draw arrows on both sides, and I have my line. All right, let's look at a different example. -7/2x. So again, it's in that y equals mx format, so my starting point is going to be the origin. So I'm going to go ahead and place my point right here at the center. If you need time to make these graphs, make sure you're pressing pause so that you can follow along exactly. All right, so I'm starting at the origin, and then I'm going to identify my slope. Well, my slope is -7/2. Now notice that the negative is in front. Here's what that means. It doesn't mean that the top and the bottom of my fraction is negative. It just means that one of them is negative. And when I graph, I always assign that negative to the top. So we are going to take this negative that's out front and assign it to the top number. So I have -7/2. And you can do that for any example. Now, what am I going to do? From here, remember, I'm going to make sure that this is written as a fraction, and it is. So then I'm going to decide, well, what directions does that mean I'm going to go? Remember, rise is either up or down. So on the top part of my fraction, -7 is telling me to move down 7. And remember, the bottom of the fraction tells me to run. So moving right or left. And since 2 is positive, I'm going to move to the right 2. So let's go to our graph. -7/2 means I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces. And from where I left off, I'm going to count to the right 1, 2, and I'm going to plot my point. I'm out of room, so I'm just going to go ahead and connect my 2 dots. Make arrows on both sides, and I have my line. Now, one good thing to do is to check if your slope is going in the right direction. This says a slope of -7/2. It's a negative slope. Does that match my graph? Is it actually going down as I go left to right? And it is, so we're good to go. All right, pause the video and try this next one on your own. When you're ready, go ahead and press play. All right, let's get started. So again, this is in that y equals mx format. So my starting point is at the origin. So I'm going to make my dot. Remember, slope needs to be a fraction, and I'm going to need to put that negative into the top. So my slope is actually, instead of -1/3, it's going to be -1/3. Now, what information does that tell me? Okay, well, here's what that tells me. That negative one is telling me to move my rise. So remember, rise means up or down. So I'm going to move down because it's negative, down 1, and that 3 tells me to run. So to the right or to the left, and since it's positive, I'm going to move to the right, 3. So going to my dot, moving down 1 and counting over 3, making my new dot. Going to that leftover dot, move down 1 and over 3, 1, 2, 3, make a new dot, and there's my graph. All right, one more just for good practice. Go ahead and pause the video and try this last one on your own. All right, let's get started. So y equals 9 over 7x. Again, my starting point is at the origin. So I'm going to plot my point at the origin, and then I'm going to identify my slope. My slope is 9 over 7. It is in that rise over run fraction. Remember, the top tells me to rise either up or down. And 9 is positive, so I'm going to move up 9. 7 is also positive, and that's my run, so I'm going to run to the right. 7. So let's go ahead and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spaces up. And from where I left off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the right. I'm going to make a point. Ran out of room to continue my line any further, so I'm just going to go ahead and connect these. And this is my graph. All right, remember your assignment again is on paper. You need to graph those 6 problems. Take a picture and submit those on Canvas. If you have any questions, please reach out, and have a great day.